Hi everybody, welcome back to the channel. I am Jake. This is Woman Carrying Man. Nadia couldn't do this review because she is sick and had no desire to see this in the first place. But I didn't have to go alone. I took my 4-month-old baby who said that its so-called political neutrality was itself a political statement. Don't know what that means. The movie is called Warfare. It is directed by Alex Garland and Ray Mendoza. Alex Garland directed last year's Civil War, a movie that I very much liked, but it's very divisive. This movie, Warfare, seems to be getting hit by the same issues in terms of where Alex Garland is standing as a filmmaker, as a political filmmaker. It is a messy subject, a very interesting subject to me. For some reason, the topic of can war films be anti-war is coming up a lot. I'll get into some of this as much as the movie wants it to be. Oddly enough, I feel like Warfare, just like Civil War, the conversation is being wrapped around something that the movies aren't really trying to address. It's very odd because Civil War, people were talking a lot about depictions of like right-wing, left-wing violence, the upcoming election. That movie is, to me, mostly about photojournalism and how much the truth is worth and how we love to aestheticize violence in art and what that says about human beings, and very interesting stuff. But this movie too, it's almost like asking for a whirlwind of discourse. In the Big Picture podcast, they interviewed Alex Garland and Ray Mendoza, and I believe it was Ray Mendoza who said, the movie is not about why, but what. In the sense that it's not about why the war happened, we're talking about the Iraq War, but what it was, what actually, it's an incident. This is such a fascinating movie because it is a relatively recent war story referring to the real people's memories of who lived it, and they're trying to do an exact or as close to exact replica of what happened on this failed mission. Thrilling, hard to watch, visceral, definitely has artistic merit, I think. We're bringing up questions of can the filmmaker remove themselves to such a degree to just depict the what and not have anything to say. Obviously, the movie has stuff to say. If you read between the lines, it is telling the story from the soldier's perspective, but we're seeing a lot of things. We're focused on the humanity of these people, of what it's like to fight in this type of warfare. That was what I got from it for the most part. Was war is bad and ugly and horrifying, and I think that if you're coming away from this movie saying like, oh, this is a pro-war film, it's glamorizing war, what could any war film do at this point to try to make war look bad? The only type of people who would leave this movie going like, oh yeah, war is cool and fun and epic would be maybe 14-year-old boys who play Call of Duty all day. At that point, they're gonna love it. It's very evident, just the depictions of what happens with this type of documentary fidelity. It's very clear that this is a horrifying, ugly situation that left all these men traumatized. Because the movie doesn't get into the politics of what happened or any historical reference, it makes that all the more clear, the pointlessness all the more clear. We have no idea why these guys are on this mission, what their objectives are. We don't know why the U.S. is in this country. None of that is addressed within the film. All we see is just these guys starting the mission itself, what goes wrong, and the end of the mission. It's a very tight 90-minute movie, and it does, I think, exactly what it wants to do. It recreates this mission. And for that, I thought it was a really useful and worthwhile work of art that I'm really glad I experienced. I would say, I enjoyed this movie on a level of admiring the artistry and craft on display. The acting is phenomenal. The cinematography, the sound design is incredible. There are some moments that are just specifically they work because of the sound. It's very immersive. There's an explosion. I'm not going to get into the specifics, but there's a big explosion, and the way we're in the heads of these characters and what these things sound like after that type of situation. There's no break. There's no rest. We're with these guys the whole time for the most part. Through all the screaming, the agony, the realizations, the waiting, it's all there. I can't really think of a more damning indictment of what happened in that war. It all feels so pointless. There is a strong emphasis on this family, this Iraqi family who lives there, and how they are just afterthoughts in this situation, and the terror, the tragedy of what happens. Like, we don't see and we aren't told what is right or wrong, but we get to see simply by the fact of what are they doing here. Like, this nice family is basically being displaced, their home's being destroyed, this neighborhood is being destroyed. These guys get into a lot of trouble, but they have superior weapons. They have the might of the U.S. military on their side, even though they are in a horrifying situation. You can gather what you want to gather simply through what is told to us and shown. Basically, to get down to it, I liked this movie. I would give it like a 4 stars out of 5. I think it's really special. I guess I'll get into the issue of like war films and how we aestheticize violence and all of that in the spoiler discussion. So if you don't mind spoilers for Warfare, you can hang around. I'm going to talk spoilers now. So 3, 2, 1, spoilers. I mean, how do you even spoil? Things go bad, people die. The mission quickly becomes like a rescue mission. I really liked Will Poulter's character, who was like the commander or captain or whatever, who kind of gets shaken and has to like relieve himself of duty to this other guy who comes in, Charles Melton's character. It just felt real. Like, it all felt very real. It felt these very little moments. There's not a ton of characterization, just little moments of seeing who these characters are. Like this one moment where this guy comes in, hey, how's it going? He has kind of like a chipper attitude, or an eager attitude. It's like, how you doing? I'm doing fine. And he goes back to work, And then afterwards, they're like, newbie. Like, there's such little dialogue, but you get the whole sense. The dynamics between the characters become so clear just by watching them sit around a workplace story. These guys are trying to do their jobs. You're just watching them do their jobs when things go horribly wrong. But of course, things going horribly wrong is also part of their job. So it's just a fascinating insight as someone who has no understanding of that world of combat, just as like a process. Like, this is a process movie. Joseph Quinn screams through like half of this movie just in agony. It's really hard to watch. They're begging for morphine. Like, it's just the details, the process of everything that happened is so specific that it just feels like you're watching what happened. And I guess that's what they were going for. Ray Mendoza was on the mission, and he's part of the team that is recounting what happened and making sure that it's as close to what they remember as possible. Can war films be anti-war films? I think it was Truffaut who said that every war film is a pro-war film. At least this is what everyone says. That's what he said. And then apparently Spielberg said every war film's an anti-war film. I have no idea if they actually said these things. This is just part of the lore of how people discuss this. I don't know any other way to put it. Whatever type of violence you depict on screen, and it's kind of like making satire. Like, some people just aren't going to get the satire. Some people watch The Wolf of Wall Street and go, man, this guy is awesome, and they're 14 years old and they watch Andrew Tate, and that's just they're not going to see it as satire. And I think that's the same thing with certain war films. Some people will probably see this movie and go like, we should have done more, and we aren't more aggressive in our foreign policy or something like that. But it just feels like this movie isn't even about any of that. There's like lingering shots of the family, after they leave. We linger with them. Like, the only time we're ever not with the soldiers with after they leave. As soon as they leave, and you have this dad and his sister and the kids, and they're going, are they gone? Is everyone gone? And their house is destroyed. The whole neighborhood is destroyed. One of the most like ridiculous parts of the movie is at the end of that, when they're like, let's just destroy the whole top floor of this apartment building. And the tank just takes it out, takes out all these roofs. Like, that's what's crazy, is that they feel like their back is to the wall because they are in this compromised situation. Then you have like the might of the American military come in, and it can just level this place. And it shows you how, first off, wrong this whole operation, this military operation was. Just from seeing it microscopically from this one mission, you can already see like, okay, this shit is wrong. Like, it's ineffective. What are we even trying to do in this situation? They're trying to find the guys who are going to attack them. Like the sniper in the beginning of the film, they're hunting down, trying to find these guys, and how can they know? It's like, this isn't their country. This is a situation they're so out of their depth. The only way they can respond to anything is to just level it with bombs. Just horrifying, and shows that. And then one of the final shots before this like montage of photographs of the guys who were actually in the movie, or who helped make the movie. It shows all of the Iraqi fighters coming out of their hiding spots, after the tank leaves and the guys are gone, they just walk out into this devastated neighborhood. And it gives you that moment of like, what is this all for? Like, this was just such a disaster. I just thought it was very effective. People are going to read into it what they want to read into it, and that's what the movie's inviting. It's trying to not say anything, but I do think it is anti-war. I think you listen to Alex Garland talk about it. I think he's trying to make a strong anti-war film, but description of like pro-war, anti-war, you can, as much as you want to show war being hideous and bad, there are still people who are going to take the wrong message from it, or there's something about our stupid human brains that likes to aestheticize violence, likes to make it glamorous and exciting. I think that's something Alex Garland has been thinking about and making movies about, especially with Civil War. It's very much about the photographer's lens of making art by depicting violence and what that does to the person who's making that art and what they're trying to say and what kind of effectiveness it has. And that's what the warfare is. It's like he's the photographer now snapping the pictures of violence, but he's making this movie, and can he just do a neutral picture of war? Can he? I don't know. I don't think so. But I think that it's interesting that he seems to be trying that with Ray Mendoza, of course. So really interested in what Alex Garland is working up with these two movies, Civil War and now Warfare. There are certainly people who are going to be mad that it's not a more clear message of like, this is wrong. Remember, this was wrong. This is a bad thing. We need to show more of the Iraqis' perspective in this situation. Like that's arguments that I've seen made about this, of why it's a bad, like morally bad movie. I'm trying not to impose any moral weight upon piece of art. I think that doing what it's doing for good reason, and I think that the fact that it's focusing just on these soldiers' experiences is valuable in itself. It's delivering an anti-war message in a way that is different. I don't know. It's a complicated situation, of course. I like the movie, and doing this type of cinematic exercise is valuable. I'm happy that it was made, and I'm happy that to have seen it. So what do you guys think of Warfare? Let me know. We'll be back soon, me and Nadia, and I hope you all are doing well and having a good time. Bye-bye, everyone. Bye-bye.